Check, check.
What up?
What's up? Hi, guys. Welcome to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. My name is Angel Sanchez, and with me, I have Mr. Jack Delogier.
What's going on?
And also Mr. David Bravo.
What's up, guys?
How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. Friday's always a good day, and we're chilling with this alcoholic brew, courtesy of Angel.
Hashtag sponsor.
Hashtag sponsor. We got some Athletic Brew, the Athletic Brewing Company. Got the Upside Down Dawn. I don't know why I read that wrong. I'm drunk. No, it's
David's no gluten
no gluten. It's
for the people that are gluten intolerant.
Picked it up at Whole Foods, so I'm sure that they carry some of that stuff there. It's interesting because I went to Whole Foods, and for the first time ever, I saw the self-checkout. Did you guys start seeing that at Whole Foods?
No,
a minute.
I saw it at a food emporium that I got my food at.
Holy smoke.
And
What food did you get? I wasn't here for the food.
I got some roasted veggies, some asparagus for the other people, and then roasted turkey. And I got a couple of the barbecue chicken bites.
I'm so that vegan shit just
And
went
rice.
out the window, right?
What?
That vegan shit just went out the window.
Yeah, no. I mean, I got the asparagus.
You got two different types of animals
Meats.
in there.
Got the, they're fawns, right?
Last week he was hot saying, they're going to try it. And he was like, 1 week later, I'm straight.
What else? I got a beer. I got a Peroni.
Yeah,
shout out Italy. They're not that much, dude. They're not. It's not a big beer.
He's drunk.
It's.
Oh,
Shocking this next time.
This guy inhaled the Peroni the way you got a bottle open. He's like, I got one. So he had one on him. Next thing I know, the empty bottle playing with us. Like, what would you have?
Bottle's still cold.
They're very refreshing.
Yeah, no shit.
They're very good.
Dude, it's like 30 degrees out.
Thank you to my Italian brothers and sisters.
But you even said so yourself. Peroni is like the Budweiser Italy.
Yeah,
right?
so that's what I heard. I forgot who told me. I think an old coworker at Equinox that's Italian was like, yeah, Peronis are great, but they're kind of like the equivalent of getting a Budweiser in the States. Like you go to Italy, they get a Peroni, it's like nothing. So, but apparently Budweiser or Bud Light is like not big, but it's kind of like the same way you're getting a Peroni here. Like you're like, oh, it's Italian,
That makes sense.
Oh dear.
They're very good. I could like down 5 of those.
I can't do Budweiser anymore. I can't do Budweiser or Pabst Blue Ribbon. Those are like
PBRs.
old
Oh my
school,
God.
like, when you're in college, that's what people drink just because it's cheap. And it's honestly terrible.
There's a bar called Lion's Head. It's up on
What is it, like 108 or
108, 109 in Columbus. It's a Mets bar, so I mean,
I've been there
whatever.
before.
But they used to have dollar PBRs.
Yep.
And I don't think they have them anymore. We they ran out because of it.
Yeah, you
that was
drunk and
crazy.
dry.
Yeah, I remember that. But the spot across the street from there is actually pretty good.
Amity Hall.
Amity Hall. Yeah, they got some pretty good food up there.
For real?
They have good beer. They have good food.
Yeah.
Especially for a game.
Options aren't that. They don't have that many vegan options. They have vegetarian
It's
options.
all right. I'll come one day and I'll explore and I'll eat what they have. But
There's a lot of stuff. There's a place called Vegan Hood that's opening up near where I live. I think it's like 113th or 114th. And then there's another place that has some really good vegan food. So
oh, nice. I'll have to come check it out. I haven't been up there in a minute actually.
that's dope.
But yeah, all right. So David's not vegan anymore. He did one.
I was never vegan.
He did one. He theoretically did 1 hour, and then he went back to real life and was like,
I
"No,
got
that's
the
too much."
asparagus.
Asparagus. Alfie, chill out. Alfie.
Now you know how it
I'll
feels.
be here all day. Nah, but
Oh no, here we
There
go.
you
he
go.
loves me. But he
I was
loves
thinking
you
maybe I should sit on
differently.
the couch today so that I could kind of control him, but
Alfie loves David in a
Thanks.
very particular way.
The bacon sweat coming out of me.
he has a turkey sweat coming out of you. He doesn't
He's,
sweat.
like,
Doesn't get that with me
licking his
I
anymore.
gave him a little bit of turkey. He was like, "Oh shit!" He
dropped the
literally
carrot.
dropped the carrot in his mouth
Real
to
fast.
eat the turkey.
Yeah.
Wow. You can ask a dog which one's better, vegetables or meat. They'll tell you real quick. No, but also I don't know if I told you guys, but there's a rapper who lives in my building. Did I ever tell you guys that?
No, you did not tell us that. You told us about the super setting fire to the fucking.
Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't say exactly.
What do you think,
I
Alfie?
can't say I got to go offline. But yeah, that was a whole nother situation.
Who's the rapper?
I can't say it now because now
Come
people gotta figure out
on.
who's the rapper, where he lives, who's the super. all
Hey,
that.
multiple buildings can have their supers setting fire to the apartment. We don't know which one it is. We can just say it's uptown. It's all good.
That's true. All right. Well, we got a little situation going on. Apparently, it escalated. The love between David and Alfie escalated exponentially. Holy smokes, he's mounting this man. Ever seen the dog like
To
this?
be fair,
The back of his neck.
David doesn't do anything. In
I
pride
don't do
time,
anything anymore. I used to rile him up.
but you did in pride.
I
I think it's
didn't do
the initial.
anything.
It's the initial. Like when you
Alfie.
Like he
start the
remembers
relationship.
me.
Yeah, when you start the relationship that way.
He's like, oh, he's the guy that I could be rough with.
Damn, he sucked the shit out of this toilet.
trying to do the same thing to David.
Pretty much.
Anyway, so today's topic is I read an article, so I'll just talk about the article, and then if you guys want to chip in and chime in, I thought it was pretty interesting. The file of articles that I sent you guys and nobody ever looks at.
I mean, I know that there. I didn't read any. I asked about this topic and you didn't say it. I was like, all right.
You're right, because I didn't know, but I did take a look at the article, and one of the articles was talking about how to improve an overhead press in adults who struggle getting the movement pattern down, and also addressing sarcopenia as well. So for those who don't know what sarcopenia is,
Yeah, let the people know what that is, because
I'll let the people
Yeah.
know. The people need to know what sarcopenia is. Sarcopenia is... Do you guys want to take a stab at it?
no, I think you got it. I think you got it. No, yeah.
I don't know it.
Say what's the millionaire.
Now, sarcopenia is it's age-related muscle loss or muscle atrophy and bone loss. I think it's related to bone more so than muscle, but I don't have the paper in front of me, so I don't really remember. And the last time I took a quiz with sarcopenia question on it was like over 8 years ago. But definitely something in that vein. So one thing that happens is as you get older, it becomes harder for your body to do a bunch of things, as some of you might be experiencing right now. One of the things is maintaining bone density and then also muscle mass as well. So the article addressed that to a certain extent, and then it also addressed the mobility aspect of getting somebody to do overhead press, because sometimes you see people doing presses, and it's more at an angle. It's not necessarily directly overhead. And when we talk about overhead, we're thinking hands over the ears, right? So hands in line with the ears.
None of these, yeah.
And so what the article did was it used some interesting things. So one thing was like to have like a Swiss bar or a barbell held by a suspension trainer, and you do some scapular retractions or you do some rows with it, but you focus on obviously moving up the scapula first, and then you follow through with the elbow. So that way you get some you focus on that movement pattern first, the retraction, and then they speak about doing some overhead presses using the same suspension and then also using a kettlebell. So you tie the kettlebell into the suspension and you lean forward, so the body has like a forward lean, and then you press upward and forward at the same time. So it's almost like you're tilting the torso to get the overhead movement as opposed to pressing straight up.
Like
And
landmine press.
similar,
But you're dark.
yeah, I guess you can say like a landmine press, but like it's different than a landmine press, because in a landmine press, to achieve the same thing, the landmine has to be in front of you. For the suspension trainer, it has to be behind you, and you have to press forward.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you hold on to the ball of the kettlebell, the handle is kind of looped through, and then you just press forward and upward. And that should also help you. I feel like I'm fading in and out. But that should also help you get the range of motion and get the movement pattern, even though it's not true vertical, because you're your torso's at a forward lean. It still helps you get somewhat of that range of motion.
Is the theory that because you're not, gravity isn't acting on you as strong, that it's a little easier on the shoulder joint? Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think that because when you press directly up overhead, there's the gravitational forces pushing directly down, which makes it a little bit harder. Especially, I mean, even with light loads, but the forward lean helps because it's not directly going down, but then also it can help you just focus on moving forward and then gaining that stability as you press.
I think it's an interesting point. I want to say when someone spoke to me about doing eyes, Ys, and Ts, the bands, the cock bands, and how doing it on the ground had a similar, similar idea where you're not doing it directly above or directly from gravity. If you're on the ground, it just feels a little easier on the joint. I can't remember the person's explanation was, but it sounds to be of the same token of what you're saying, where you're achieving that range, minimizing the gravity in that sense, by changing the angle of the push or pull. And I think I see why. I was also thinking of the landmine exactly what David said, because I know one of our former guests, when I spoke to him, if you guys remember Renzo, we were talking about clients with like overhead issues, and I was like, oh, like what do you typically do, what's your go? And he spoke a lot about like landmine presses, because it still has the ability to activate the very similar muscles, if not the same muscles, just in a different fashion, and just that line of angle can change so much. And like you also said about that press, you want to, that's one of the hardest upper body movements I find coaching, in terms of, a pull up or a row, and then a horizontal push. But the vertical push, I try and use analogies of, that line, keeping the arm in line of your ear, right? And when I teach classes, that's a really important thing to focus on, because I think too often we see people pushing almost in front, and like what you said, if the line of pull is not directly from beneath you, then fine, you're doing it up. If it's opposing from the other direction, I think that makes sense. But if you're pushing it directly away from the ground, let's say like a dumbbell overhead press, you want to make sure that angle is straight up. And I mean, that's just kind of what I think of when you speak about that topic. And it's you definitely have people that are against. You also get people who are afraid of pushing overhead because of the fear of if it puts kind of pressure on their spine as well. If you guys ever come across that, like, oh, too much pressure on my spine, or I get that too.
Yeah, that.
I mean, the pressure on the spine thing I find funny.
Yeah, but if you got someone who's adamant, how do you talk them out of it?
You start off, I guess, with dumbbells or something.
Start
Get
dropping
'em
weights
stronger.
from the upper floor and see what they do with it.
Have them do handstand presses.
Yeah, because that's going to work. Hey, you don't put like dumbbells over your head. Now you're going to be inverted.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes what it is as well is you get the clients who have two contradicting ideas, right? Like they want to be able to do a handstand, but they don't want to press up overhead. So then you're just like, wait, what?
Me. Yeah, where do you want? Yeah, I'm
And
here.
then
One
you have
thing.
to kind of like, draw things out and plan things out and say, hey, listen, like I understand where you're coming from with this, but this goal and your restriction have a conflict. They're conflicting.
Yeah. It's like, I understand where you're coming from, but no.
Like I just want to do body weight though. Like I feel body weight is less weight than a dumbbell. You're like, well,
I mean, physics.
But I also had someone tell me they didn't want to do the incline treadmill because they work their quads too much. They're doing a regular treadmill. I'm like, who told you this?
point them out.
Yeah, who told you this? Who's lying to you?
TikTok,
TikTok, you said?
I have clients that send me their TikToks so I could read or listen to them and then give them my feedback.
What?
Yeah.
On workouts?
Yeah, not on workouts, but just on general stuff. Like I think there was one that they sent me about
Like a dance?
nutrition. And they're like, hey, so what do you think about this TikTok? And then I would like explain to them what I think about it. And they're like, Dave, we're not going to do it. We're just asking you because it just seems something I want to ask you about. I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, of course.
This is when Dave responds with trash. This is one word.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, nah.
Oh, no.
Oh, nah. Yeah. But, yeah, so that I think is one of the things that I read and I thought was pretty cool. Because it's not something I thought about doing, that method in particular. And then also in the article, they did mention doing like reverse flies and Ys with dumbbells, things like that, and a hip hinge and just holding the hip hinge. But then they also made a note that it might also affect the lower back of the client. So just be mindful of like how long and how much resistance the client is moving. Just so you don't,
What do you think, Alfie? Do you like to do like landmine presses? Yep.
Yeah, sounds like yes.
But no, the landmine presses are great, I think, because one of the biggest issues that people have when it comes to overhead presses is
That's all love right there.
is the fact that their rotator or their scapula doesn't really rotate downward. Because when you press, you're gonna need to have that downward rotation of your scap, and I think the landmine press, once you do it, it helps them do it more because it's right in front of them. They can lean into it a little more. No, not the love. That's all the love I'm gonna get. But yeah, that's why I think the Landmine Press is great because it kind of teaches them that scapular movement.
Yeah.
You can use other things for it, of course, like a good one for like your serratus anteriors, where you're standing up against the wall and you have a roller in front of you. Roller is horizontal, and you put your wrist on the roller and you press into it, causing some protraction, and also protraction of your scapula, and then you reach up. And as you reach up, you're pressing still into the roller, and that's also causing downward rotation. Kind of teaching you how to, have the scap wrap around your ribs. Also, if people that are winged with the wing scapula stuff, that's good for them too, so they can learn how to get the total movement on it.
Let me ask you. Go on. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, David, stop touching the dog because I think I can see some stuff going on. Jacques, you want to sit here?
Maybe the next episode. We'll social through this one. I just think he'll calm down after. But I want to ask you. So I have a program, and without sounding critical, there's just a couple of exercises that don't feel good on my shoulder, and I remember why I don't bench press a lot, because I don't know if I'm not doing it right or it just doesn't feel good on my shoulder. But if you guys know the exercise, the dumbbell pullovers, where you lay with just your upper back on the bench and you're pulling the dumbbell from being directly above your chest to down towards the ground and pulling over. So if you're familiar with that exercise, how do you feel about it? Do you guys like it? Do you guys use it in your program?
I've used it a lot back in the day for hypertrophy. I used to do it seated. Yeah. Well, no, that's more like a elbow extension. But I used to do it lying down on the full body on the bench, and I've done it with like half my body on the bench or the upper part of my body on the bench. And I think it's just a matter, for me at least, I think it's a matter of progression. But as we learn being trainers, there are physiological differences between people, so it might be something that might not be conducive to your shoulder health, right? Like I know some clients who we've progressed, like they used to have shoulder pain, we've progressed to like things like pull-ups and push-ups and all that stuff. And for whatever reason, they notice that pull-ups, when they do that, that starts to agitate their shoulders more so than anything else. And so we stray away from that. They can do the pull-ups, but it comes at a cost that they're not willing to, buy into, which makes sense. Like nobody should be aiming towards pain. And it's kind of like, what do you need to pull up for? Things like that. So to that extent, like I can see how that exercise can be painful to some, but for me, it's never given me any issues.
Gotcha. David, what about you?
No, I haven't done them. I think the closest thing I've done to that is skull crushers, but also with a with shoulder flexion.
Used like a easy curl bar for that. Yeah.
So instead of just having it here, you kind of do like a soccer throw in.
Yeah. That was my
That
jam.
kind of gets the lats, huh?
Football.
Okay. This is America.
Football.
Well, I was just curious because that's something that really it's in a program, and I'm open to just trying things that if it's gonna place a different stimulus in my body and see growth in different areas, I'm open to it. But then for 3-4 weeks I've been doing it, I don't ever go too heavy, and I'm like, I'm sure this I don't know if it's because I've done too much pressing in the workout that it's just like a little too much at that point, but I don't know. But
I think that if you're doing that, if you can't progress it, to a certain extent, then I guess you're not giving your body enough stimulus to grow if you're trying to grow, I guess, right? It's like you can only do so much with one weight. And if that one movement doesn't make you feel great as you go heavier, then maybe you got to do another thing.
Yeah, this is kind of because the similar movement, I have to wrap up soon. The similar movement, I guess you would hit the very similar muscles are if you're slightly hinged over, pulling the ropes towards your hips, towards your knees. That's essentially the same pattern. Are we in agreement with that, right? That feels fine. So I don't know if it's the fact that I'm pulling.
The difference, though, like you would have to lean forward into.
Right, I hinge a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that simple hinge. But this is going to sound crazy as well. Today I did some Arnold presses. I was sitting on a box that was 24 inches. Compared to those benches or seats where I'm like a little dip like this, the presses were so much easier when I was sat higher up. I know that sounds so silly, trivial, but I never really thought too much about it. The seats in regular gyms, I found it a little harder because I'm in a deeper hip flexion. And otherwise, on the box felt
Maybe
better.
because you're
But
not able to drive through the ground.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
what it is.
Like it has to be elevated a little bit more so you can drive. And then it comes to a point where you're almost too elevated, right? Like you need your feet to be, I guess, like you need 90 degrees at the hip. I'm
That's what I needed. And
thinking
otherwise, it was like
90 at the hip,
yeah.
90 at the knee. Like if I was to get somebody to press as much as they can in a seated position, that's one of the things I would probably look for first.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Nice.
wrap this up just because we got to keep this one short. And then we'll regroup. Oh, also, thanks to Athletic Brewing Company, Upside Dawn,
Cheers,
Golden. Giving back 2% of all sales go to restoring local trails. Can't
Oh
read.
yeah. Can't read. Not today.
Cheers.
No ad reads.
No ad reads. Right. Later, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.